Hey guys, we are reporting live from the Arthur Blank family office on a chilly night in Atlanta. Chilly figuratively and literally. I say that because if you haven't heard the news yet, Falcons head coach Arthur Smith was fired right after midnight last night or heading into Monday. I'm Emily Gagnon. And usually I have partners in crime with me, but it's just me riding solo tonight. And we just heard from Arthur Blank, the team owner, and team CEO Rich McKay. Both men addressed the media today starting at 4 o'clock. That press conference lasted an hour and a half, by far the longest presser I've attended in all of my years covering the Falcons, 6+ years. Longest presser, as I said, for Blank. There were a lot of questions asked of him and asked why this team has, played so poorly and had such poor records in very recent history. And he had to answer a lot of tough questions, did a great job doing that, in my opinion, and so did Rich McKay. But, one of the interesting things for me is really how Blank said he's ultimately going to make the decision on who is the next head coach for the Falcons. He wants to take his time. He is in no rush. There is no timetable, but he will get some help from a few of his closest executives, including McKay and Fontenot, Terry Fontenot, the general manager, who was hired right before Arthur Smith came to the Falcons. And guys, if you haven't heard, Fontenot has been able to keep his job. He was not fired along with Smith last night. It's important to mention because they had a 50-50 split on decision making. So a lot of this has fallen on Smith's lap, even though the two gentlemen, on a day-to-day basis, obviously talk and decide a lot and make decisions together. So he was able to save his job. Fontenot was. We got a little bit of a clarification as to Fontenot, whether his role is going to change or stay the same after the 3 years that they've had together. Blank said that he would remain general manager. He would remain in that role. If and when the new head coach is hired, would it stay the same? Would he still have 50-50 split decision making with the new head coach? And McKay and Blank both said it should be that way, but it does depend on who they bring in. I would imagine, and again, this is nothing I've heard, but rumors are out there saying Bill Belichick, if for some reason he is let go by the Patriots after, a not so good season, that the Falcons might be interested. Those are just reports. That's nothing that I have personally heard from the team. But if someone like that came in, an experienced coach who has experience in things other than head coaching, I don't know that would stay the same. I say that because you would think maybe a guy like Bill Belichick would come in and take over the head coaching role. Also, some general manager duties. You got to remember, GMs, they are in charge of personnel. And when it comes to the draft, they draft a lot of these players, whether the head coach likes it or not. Yes, it is a lot of back and forth between head coaches and general managers, but GMs a lot of time do decide who's on the roster and then give the roster to the head coach. So I do find that to be a little interesting in the fact that we don't know if that will stay the same with the new coaching hire whenever that hire is made, but that it should remain the same. Now, again, it's going to take some time. Blank said he doesn't want to rush it. He wants to make sure this is right. He understands that his fan base and the players who are on the team want a championship, and he wants to bring a championship to this city. He wants to bring one to the players, and he understands that, that starts with the head coach as far as playing on the field, right? I mean, once you're out on the field, it's down to the head coach and the play calls. And Desmond Ridder, he had a issue with turnovers this season. That was probably the biggest downfall for Coach Smith. Probably the resulting of his fire was quarterback play. Ridder was benched a couple of times throughout the year, but as far as turning the ball over, he did that more than most quarterbacks do in their career, and protecting the ball was a big issue. And, the backup Taylor Heineke had to come in quite a bit. And he too, he's a veteran in the NFL, but he too, he got injured. He struggled with turnovers as well. So, what I found interesting is Blank was asked about Lamar Jackson, who was a free agent during the offseason, and he was asked if it was a mistake not pursuing Jackson right now is probably leading the front runner for NFL MVP. He's had an outstanding season with the Ravens. But Blank, simply said he doesn't think he made a mistake in not pursuing Jackson. And he said that because he thought he had an answer in Desmond Ridder. They put that much clout in Ridder. They really thought that Ridder was going to be the face of the franchise. And it's no disrespect to Ridder. Not everybody can be an NFL quarterback, and a really good one. 32 guys get to do it every single year, and maybe 5 of them, shine every single game. So it's a tough position to be in as far as Ritter's concerned, but also obviously with Smith now out of a job, he was a terrific offensive coordinator with the Titans before coming here. His record was very, very good. So now he's, probably back on the market looking for another gig. If he becomes an offensive coordinator somewhere else, I wouldn't be surprised. But this head coaching gig with the Falcons is now over, and it's time to move on. And, it'll be up to Blank and McKay, but also Fontenot, who will have a say in this hire. Fontenot, when he came to the Falcons, he was first hired before Smith came along, and we were told today that he did interview all of the head coaches candidates who came through 3 years ago. He was part of that process, so he will be part of that process again this time around. So we're going to start there, get a head coach, and then after that the draft will come. The Falcons have the 8th overall pick. They also had that last year and the year before. So will they move up, try to get a quarterback? I think that if you ask me, that's what they should do. But again, I'm not in that position, and we'll see what happens. Fontenot, he has a draft philosophy in that he likes to draft the best player still available, not the position of need. So at number 8, if they're still on the board, he will take the best player available, not necessarily what the team needs. But it is glaring to me and probably most fans that a quarterback right now is absolutely needed. And if you're going to take a guy in the top 10 or even trade up and do all that, you're going to, hope for a guy like Michael Penix Jr. who's playing tonight. Great arm, and there's other guys coming out, but you'd have to imagine that's what the Falcons are going to do. They also probably need some help on the offensive line. Bijan Robinson, great choice. Drake London, Kyle Pitts. You can't argue that those 3 guys who Smith and Fontenot drafted together aren't great players, but probably not necessarily what the team needs. So we'll see if that philosophy's changed this year. We'll see if the Falcons, go with a quarterback, but in the NFL, that's what you need. You need a quarterback to be able to win. I've talked about this before. When UGA won back-to-back national championships with their quarterback at the time, he was the backup to the backup to the backup. Stetson Bennett was. And Georgia was able to win because in college ball it's a little bit different. You need a quarterback, but not as much as you do in the NFL. But Georgia's defense was so strong in that first season that they won the national championship. And then in the second season, Bennett definitely got significantly improved. But that's how different the leagues or from college to the NFL are. You need a quarterback in the NFL to be able to win. If you look at the teams that win Super Bowls, it all starts with their quarterback and how good of a leader he is, how good he is in the pocket, if he can run. So this is something the Falcons, I'm sure, when they're interviewing whoever comes through here, will ask their quarterback philosophy. And, Harbaugh is being mentioned quite a bit as a candidate because, more than likely tonight he will coach in his last college football game with Michigan. Could he be a candidate here in Atlanta? He runs a tight ship and great offensive mind. So you might think of him. And again, like I said, if for some reason Belichick was let go by the Pats, he might be tied to the team as well. But I know that you want to hear from players who spoke to the media today about what's going on with the firing of Coach Smith, and a lot of them were very supportive of Smith. When we talked to them last night, it was interesting because most guys in the locker room in New Orleans were saying how Smith and his staff did a great job, and that, you know, they just felt like they were getting rolling with the team because some of these guys are new. So many of them, especially on defense, are new, and they had nothing but good things to say about Smith. But let's hear what they said earlier today in Flowery Branch, meeting with the media around 11 o'clock before we heard from Blank and McKay, and kind of get their opinion, since they, you know, got really close with the coaching staff, and specifically Smith, who a lot of them felt were he was a fair coach.
Strides this year. What are some of the things y'all could build on from this year?
Definitely made some strides. So just continue to grow, continue to get better, and continue to add pieces. Myself getting back healthy and stuff like that, and getting back on the field, I think is gonna be big. And just take the things we learned from this year, and everybody having it's a time where you don't know how everything's gonna go. So I mean, we just gotta, however it go, better be ready to go.
Would you like to see Nielsen come back with a new coach? I mean, would you like to see him brought back as a defensive
I
coordinator?
mean, I've been extremely clear in my opinion on Coach Nielsen. And he's been one of the best coaches I had as a defensive lineman, and as a just defensive line specialist, being able to work with him at this level, especially going into year 10, still being able to learn certain things and play things a certain way through the things that he taught me. I'm always very, very grateful, for that. So I mean, he did a great job, turning his defense around, and however it go, he the type to be ready for however it goes. So I mean, however it go, we're gonna be ready.
Will you pay any attention to the head coaching search, or do you just say, let me know?
I'm almost like especially with things like this, like it's almost, it's inevitable that you do pay attention. Names that they throw out there, however it may be. But at the end of the day, the organization always gonna do what they think is best for them. So I mean, so I'm watching it just like you guys. It's like almost like a little bit of entertainment, I guess. I mean, shoot, what can I do? But watching, be tuned in, and just be ready to watch what's the next move.
Have they ever solicited the opinion of veteran players like you, or maybe not to say do you like this guy or not, but just to get some feedback on what you might be looking for? Do they ever come to you?
I don't. Some those decisions are made in the rooms that most times players just not in, and so I don't know how much weight or input that I would have or another player would have. There've been times where you ask player stuff and the player not here. So you don't. Everybody in a transition kind of period, you don't really know what to do. So you just gotta make sure you got your business right and be ready to show up to work whenever they call you. Hopefully they those decisions ain't really. It's always the players.
But this will be the third coach under you guys. So the third time since you've been here, at least third head coach. So what qualities would you like to see in a head coach?
What qualities? I mean, it really ain't up to me to all reality. I mean, but I would, obviously, want somebody who's a good leader, good at what they do, and I'm sure that they're gonna pull the name for whoever they think is the best to get the job done. And there's a million ways to skin a cat, So I mean, at the end of the day, if you gotta get somebody to get something done one way, and this way might be different. There's not really a right way. There's not really a right answer, And but I know we want to win, around here. Want to be in the postseason. We want to play for championships, and at the end of the day, however that look, that's what we want to get done, and I'm excited for what's to come.
I just appreciate the opportunity. I wish I could have, won some games for him, and we'll keep playing this week. But it just is what it is. I mean, you try your hardest. You sign your work and leave it all on the field. And I did that. But just wish I could have did a little more.
Will the change at all affect maybe your decision on deciding to play, or maybe even come back to play with the Falcons?
I mean, yeah. I feel like. I'm going to go through my process, but I'm leaning towards playing again. There's no guarantees once I go through that process. But, the way I feel right now, my body and stuff, I feel like if we were playing this week in the playoff game, I'd be dominant and feel really good. And so, I'm sure I'm going to feel good in a few weeks once, kind of just, no more football in my body for a little bit. And so I don't see myself like, just wanting to walk away. But, you know, I mean, I'm not opposed to it either, though. I mean, I mean, there's a part of me thinking like, you know, could this game have been good enough to be the last one? You know, I mean, like you hate losing, going out like that, but I also still feel like, you know, like I mean, if it was my last game, it was a, you know, it was a game I can, you know, feel good about walking away on. But you know, I mean, I still love the game, and I'm still, you know, still healthy. So, you know, and I think I can still be dominant at it. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I think right now, you know, as far as like my, you know, my future and where I'll be and stuff, I just got to go through the process. You know, when everything's changing, you know, you just got to see what stays the same. You know, I don't know what's going to happen with the defensive coaches. You know, they're under contract. You know, I think part of that's going to be on, you know, who they, you know, replace Art with. You know, but. You know, when all that kind of shakes out and everything kind of, you know, comes together, you know, then I figure out what it is. But everything will be, you know, decided by the time, you know, I make a decision. So, you know, I mean, you know, nothing I'm doing is going to be until, you know, March, most likely. So, you know, all this will be clear by then.
Were you shocked or surprised after, you know, to find out that he was let go? I mean, did you kind of have an inkling maybe after the game or on the plane ride back, or?
I mean, I've been around the game a long time, so you know, I mean, you know, I mean, I knew it was a possibility, but I was hopeful that it didn't happen. You know, I mean, I really, you know, a lot of respect for, you know, Coach Smith. You know, he's such a good guy.
Showed his appreciation and love for us all. You know, that's who he is, and what was most important to me was, you know, being with them, you know, throughout my whole NFL career mostly, and hearing him say, you know, whenever you need me, man, you know, my number will never change. And that's who he is since the first day I met him, and you know, that's I can truly, you know, stamp that. You know what I mean? So he'll be there for anybody, man. He'll bend over backwards for, you know, the people he loves, and you know, unfortunately, sometimes this league doesn't do the same in return. But you know, we got to keep moving on forward, and you know, we'll all hope for the best for one another.
Can you describe what it's like as a player when your coach does get fired? What is that like?
Yeah, it's as a player, man. Well, it's just a lot of things from a player's perspective that you gotta break down and, you know, kind of decipher. You know, new scheme, new system, and you know, whether or not you know, it's you know, what's best for you, and you know, you can only hope. Like I said, you can only hope for the best, and you know, part of us, you know, being at this level is because we've been able to adapt and adjust. So we got to continue to be pros about it, and you know, whatever the situation is, whether it be you know, now or, you know, 3-4 months from now, you know, who gets the head job here. You know, we just got to sit back and kind of wait, kind of just a waiting game for us right now, and you know, seeing what our future holds.
What do you appreciate about Arthur, not only as a coach but a person?
Like I said, just the sacrifices that he makes for people, and things that he does that he doesn't have to do. You know, he's just a hell of a person, man. I mean, I don't know how many interviews I did about Art, and but true, I can't do enough, man. He's been extremely instrumental in my journey in the NFL, going into my 8th season, and you know, this guy is he's still here, man. It's crazy. I just think about that time we met at the Senior Bowl when I was 21 years old, and you know, here I am. I'll be 30 next year, and you know, he's still right here. So it doesn't happen a lot in this game.
Reaction, I was kind of, I mean, it was unfortunate. You know, Art's been a great guy to me since I've been here. So you know, wish him the best, and you know, hope he falls forward.
What was we heard that Arthur Smith talked to you guys this morning, actually. Just what was kind of his overall last message to you guys?
You know, he just was grateful for the opportunity. Got a chance to work with some special people, and you know, obviously we envisioned this going a different way, but you know, he just took accountability for how everything played out.
I believe you only had a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
So what's kind of next for you? What are you hoping for when it comes to your career?
You know, I've had a great time in Atlanta, so just you know, talk to the front office and see my options and see where it goes.
What was your level of surprise after you heard that Arthur Smith had been let go?
You know, I was pretty surprised, just you know, just reading some of the things that I read online about how things were going to end up. But I think that it's a business, so you can never be too surprised by how things play out. And like I said, just wishing the best for him.
I know you have your own things to worry about, your contract, etc. But how locked in are you going to be with the head coach?
Obviously, gonna have my eyes on it, be in tune with what's going on, and just hope for the best, really.
Is there a point where like the players maybe take on some of the guilt when a head coach gets let go?
I think we're all committed to whatever goal we set at the beginning of the year. We're all committed to that goal. So when things don't go as planned, obviously, head coach takes accountability, but I think every single player on the roster takes accountability as well because we all play a part in this.
What do you look for when it comes to a head coach? What, like, I know obviously you're not in there making a decision, but what do you think makes a good head coach?
I think as a player, you just want to have a head coach that has your back and supports you and just wants the best for the team as well.
Yeah, I was actually with Clark at Clark's house, and we were just kind of hanging out after the game, and it was kind of like, whoa, like damn, like that sucks, the guy that brought us to both in there, and just kind of he's not gonna be here anymore. It's kind of like, well, it's kind of, especially it's new to me. Never kind of had a coach leave or anything like that, but love Coach Smith. I'm thankful for him. Like I said, he brought me in here, brought me to the league, so I'm always gonna be grateful for him. He's a great guy. He's helped me a lot throughout this whole season.
What was it like listening to him and his message to you guys just this morning?
I mean, yeah, it was tough. He just kind of said, I'm not gonna be here anymore, and I started thinking like I said, like dang, like I really appreciate this guy. He's helped me out a lot, and like I said, he brought me in here, so I always kind of have a special place in my heart for Coach Smith because, like I said, he's the guy who introduced me to the NFL.
When there are new coaches, there are also coaching changes with coordinators. Would you like to see Ryan Nielsen stay with the new
Yeah,
head
of
coach?
course. Similar to Coach Smith, Coach Nielsen, the one who brought me in. I've been with him every day, every step of the process. So having him back, and like I said, he's taught me a whole lot. He's turned me into a really good player just this year. So I'd love to run it back with him, of course.
How do when a coach is let go, do the players ever get together and kind of feel like blame themselves a little bit when the coach takes a long time?
Honestly, I haven't really reflected like that very much, but I mean, yeah, we're the ones between the white lines, so we definitely have a part to play in the decision that was made. It kind of sucks that we weren't able to do what we were planning to do at the beginning of the season, make the playoffs and go on a run, but that's just kind of how things roll.
Can you tell us a little more about the meeting this morning, kind of like the vibe that everyone had at this meeting? I'm sure it was something.
I mean, yeah, we all most of us probably already knew before going into the meeting, but just kind of having the chance for him to get up there and just address us and, tell us the last couple of things he wanted to say before he left. And, it kind of meant a lot to me, that he stood up there and looked us all in the eye and told us, some things.
What was it about Art that you appreciated just as a player and coach relationship?
I mean, yeah, I appreciate just like, one, the energy he brings to the building. He's a good coach. He's a good motivator and a good leader, and he's always kept it 100. So you always knew where you stood with him. That's something that I appreciate as a man. You know where you stand with him at all times, and he always gonna have your back. That's something that I've learned, and a couple guys who've been with him on the team have learned that he's a guy who's gonna have your back, and he stands on his word. So that I appreciate that a lot out of him.
What qualities would you like to see in a new head coach? Like, what do you look for? What makes it good?
I mean, really similar things. Just bringing a good energy to the building. Just like I said, accountability, holding guys accountable, pushing guys. Just a guy who wants to win. That's really a guy who just wants to win because that's what we all want to do.
What's your offseason look like?
Honestly, I haven't thought that far ahead. I went home, went to Clark's, went to sleep, woke up, came here. So I haven't thought that much of that. But I'm definitely gonna go, kind of get away a little bit. It's been a long season, long year. Kind of clear my mind, reset, and then get back to it and get to work.
Is this the first time it's hit you as a business? I mean, is this first time?
No. I learned that pretty early. First couple of weeks, you see guys come and go. You're like, all right, well, we're not in college anymore. This is a business. So it definitely sucks, but I mean, it's the NFL, so you really can't. You control what you can control.
Are there any players or guys that you hope to see back next year?
I mean, selfishly, I want to see everybody back. I love the locker room. I really feel like we got a bunch of great guys, a lot of good vets who have helped me, but they really didn't have to. It's not in their job description to help the rookie out, but they all did. They all went out of their way to do things to help me and kind of help me along with this process. So I appreciate all the guys in this locker room and as many of them back as possible.
Zach, how close do you feel like this team is to doing something really special?
I think we're real close, like really close. We talk about it all the time now. Like we're right there. We just got to get over that hump. Look at our roster. We're really loaded. So it just kind of we got to go out there and do it. Talk is one thing. Rosters look how they look. We just got to go out there and win games.
Down the stretch, what do you think just went wrong for you guys?
What I think went wrong for us? I mean, we lost. I mean, yeah.
Fair enough.
I don't think it was just one.
Welcome back. We're still live from the Arthur Blank family office in Atlanta. You just heard from players earlier today from the team's headquarters in Flowery Branch. Arthur Smith did seem very liked by the players that he coached. Unfortunately, the results just weren't there. 3 straight 7-10 seasons, not making it to the playoffs in 3 seasons. And really, the offense not improving as much as Arthur Blank and team CEO Rich McKay would have liked, especially from an offensive-minded coach, if you'll remember. And Blank reminded us today, when Smith was hired 3 years ago, he was one of the most sought-after coordinators in the league when they did take him. And he came here from Tennessee. He was with the Titans, and the Titans were very high up in rankings when it comes to the offense. So they thought they were doing the right thing. You'll have to remember that Matt Ryan was the quarterback at the time. They did draft Desmond Ridder in the 3rd round 2 years ago. There were higher hopes, obviously, with Coach Smith. Did not work out. So 2 straight firings, Dan Quinn from 3 years ago, and now Smith. And I will say they pulled the plug a lot faster this time around. DQ was with the team for, I think, 6 seasons. But he did take the Falcons to the Super Bowl. And we all know what happened there when they played the Patriots. However, DQ had a little bit more of a leash, and he was absolutely loved by players, coaches. You can ask anybody in the league, and they have nothing bad to say about Quinn. But yeah, Smith is out of Atlanta, and we'll see who they hire next. Again, if you didn't hear me earlier, Terry Fontenot is still the general manager, even though the decision-making between the two split 50-50. Fontenot, has a second life. Let's move on to tonight's national championship game. Photographer Lee Smith, who is shooting this live shot right now, went to Alabama. He's been on the show several times, a sports producer and photographer. He would have liked to have been in Houston right now. I know, Lee, I'm sorry. And I actually told him if Alabama made it that we would go together. But we are not in Houston tonight. We are here in Atlanta. It is very chilly. Michigan beat Atlanta for the chance to play in tonight's national championship. And they will be taking on Washington. I think it'll be a really fun game, fun offensive game. But, what surprised me most about Michigan when they played Alabama was their defense. So I did not realize how good they were until I saw them just completely annihilate Alabama. It was actually impressive. So tonight I expect Harbaugh to coach in his last college football game. I expect him to win. I know Lee wants Washington to win simply because of what Michigan did to Alabama. But if you ask me, I loved what I saw from the Wolverines' defense, and defense win games, in my opinion. So I think they will take down Washington. What an interesting matchup, though, given the fact that it's not an SEC team playing tonight. There will not be an SEC national champion. That does not happen very often. But it's very fitting for the final 4-team playoff. But next year it'll go to 12, and many more teams will have the chance and opportunity to play for a national championship. Guys, I've got nothing else on my mind for tonight. I'm going to head into a warm car. My hands are freezing. I hope you enjoyed this live report from the Arthur Blank family office after owner Arthur Blank fired head coach Arthur Smith. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Have a good night.